Today we're going over the finale for the Askr's Kin Tempest Trials. The Book 6 side plot is coming to an end, and from Book 10 we know Entwined Sharena is canon, so I'm curious how they'll tie things together. Now if you score the maximum 50,000 points, you can get up to 42 orbs, 11,000 feathers, and 80 secret coins. This month we have Ephemera 12 divine codes, and I guess last month's 20 blessings was a mistake because we're back to 1. This month you can get 1 Astra blessing for Alphador and 1 Dark for Volley. Despite reverting back to the norm, the devs have thrown us some other spicy rewards. These sacred seals are Divisera's Finish and Potent. The reward unit is Winter Zelkov, who is also coming with some neat skills. You can get a 4-star and 5-star copy, and we'll talk about Zelkov more later on. For seals, Divisera's Finish 3 grants plus 6 Divisa res if within 3 spaces of an ally. If your special is ready or is triggered in the current fight, then you get 5 true damage per hit after. Finish skills are infantry only, and they are easy to use stat boosters if you're in a decently close formation. 3 space range is very generous, and more true damage on specials is appreciated, although this is more of a pure defensive stat finish. Overall, finish seals are pretty good. I would upgrade them over the other bond or form seals if you like infantry units. New to the Sacred Seal family is Potent 3. Reduce damage from all attacks and from AoE specials by 20%. If decreasing the speed roll to make a follow-up attack would trigger a follow-up, then trigger Potent Follow X%. If you only attack one time, X is 70%. If not, then X is 30%. Potent can be used by all melee units minus dragons and all movement types minus armors. It is a very interesting ability because Potent follow-up attacks cannot be stopped. Now besides patience, Potent follow-ups still require a speed check win. They just make the speed check easier by theoretically decreasing the speed roll for doubling from plus 5 to minus 20. That means you just need to be within 20 speed of the enemy to get the Potent follow-up. Now compared to the tier 4, the tier 3 skill doesn't have these stat debuffs, but it keeps the main effect just with 10% lower damage reduction and 10% lower for the potent hit damage. It's not a ton, but it might be noteworthy that I think this is the only Sacred Seal with AoE %DR. Now another thing to know is that potent speed roll change doesn't stack with other potent effects specifically. A potent B skill plus this potent Sacred Seal doesn't mean you decrease the speed roll by 50. This is because these skills don't actually modify the speed roll like Frozen, Parap, or units like Diamant or the new Alfred. Speed roll modifications have gotten more complex with the more skills introduced. I did make a video on it last year if you want to know more info, although I did not cover stacking 2 potent skills because I don't think that was possible at the time. Moving on, the last new Sacred Seal for this month is Squad A's CW3. This is not from the Tempest Trials, instead you get it from the 101st Squad Assault. Instead of plus 5 HP and plus 3 to dual stats, CW is an upgrade. It grants plus 6 HP and plus 4 flat attack and speed. If you enjoy these Squad A seals, then be ready for their upgrades in the coming months to all the different variations.
There is no need to be suspicious of me. If a child is frightened of me, I will reassure them of this.
Zelkov makes his Fey debut as the Tempest Trials reward unit. He has brought along some very neat goodies. Now, Winter Zelkov is a colorless infantry dagger unit. He has 40 HP, 44 attack, 49 speed, 40 defense, and 26 res. Zelkov has a speed super boom, and he's got one of the higher base defense stats for a dagger unit. He's not super standout among other free-to-play options, but Zelkov will do just fine if you're looking for a new dagger project. It has been a while since our last infantry one. Zelkov's inheritable weapon is the Winter Trinket Plus. This 12-might dagger is similar to the banner weapons with its first effect. For unit and allies within 3 rows or columns, grant plus 5 stats in combat, grant minus 1 cooldown before their first attack, and if the unit has higher speed than the enemy, give full follow-up effects. For the Winter Trinket user only, they get 20 true damage per hit and 10 flat damage reduction. Winter Trinket is a really good inheritable, arguably one of the best dagger weapons around that potentially competes with the Arcanes. The main downside is that it'll give 9 to 10 less stats in combat compared to say Arcane Slide Knife. Winter Trinket should give more true damage and flat DR. Unless you're hitting 134 attack, Slide Knife won't hit 20 true damage typically. In addition, both weapons have a preamp pulse effect. Now one major benefit of this weapon is that it has support aspects. Long range plus 5 stats, preamp pulse, and no follow-up if you outspeed. These are all great things and really nice for any offensive unit. There aren't many support-focused inheritable daggers besides the old school Tamori Plus or Johanna dagger, so Winter Trinket is a nice addition. The rest of Zelkov's kit is also great. He has Luna and Speed and Defense Tempo 3. This tempo is on Shiro, but Zelkov has it at 4 stars. Last, Zelkov brings the long-awaited Attack and Speed Finish 3 on a free-to-play source. Finish skills may not be the absolute top options, but they are still really solid A skills, and a ton of units have attack speed finish 4, which means Zelkov can make it easier to score more skills from those units. Now, from his own kit, Zelkov basically has a fully functional offensive budget build. Winter Trinket gives -1 cooldown, and Tempo gives no guard. If Zelkov initiates, gets hit back, and doubles, you will proc Luna and get 5 true damage thanks to finish. If you plan to merge up Zelkov, the neutral nature will give him +1 HP, attack, and speed. Perfectly fine to keep, but that speed super boon would be nice. For a different kind of flair, maybe a defense boon could be fun as well. Now for free-to-play infantry Dagger units, Zelkov is the first grow option in about a year. Zelkov has great speed and his defense is one of the highest among the class, but there are few units right behind him. I wouldn't say he outright absolutely blows anyone out of the water. Last generation, we had Ninja Noir and Metadine, who are pretty similar units. Both are quick, have higher defense focuses, and have similar attack stats. Noir has a tad more attack and res, while Metadine has more HP. Now after this, Pern has his own unique Brave Dagger, which is still fun. He's also in the same attack speed and defense range as the others. For the older units, Gangrel and Kronyev do fall behind in offensive stats, but they have much more HP and a decent bit more res investment. For Demo Infantry Daggers do join earlier this year. He is a red dagger, but stat-wise, very similar to Zelkov. If you prefer colorless, Patty is right behind in offensive stats and is the closest to Zelkov as a not super old unit. For Captain Calm, they are the other colored dagger demotes and both have less attack while investing HP and res stats. Just as a fun mention, Soth, fully maxed out, does alright for himself. He's not the fastest, but he manages to keep up in attack somehow, and his defense and res are balanced out with his higher HP. Overall, Winter Zelkov is good, but there are other options basically right there with him in terms of attack speed and defense. He is our only Gen 10 option, but maybe if you want his fodder, then there are definitely other similar dagger units you could build. On the topic for budget builds, Zelkov has done most of the work for us. His base kit is great, and the general idea is that Zelkov can proc Luna if he doubles and gets hit back. If you want to charge Luna without getting hit, then slot in Flashing Blade as a secret seal. If you use Flashing Blade and you get hit, then perhaps Zelkov can proc 4 cooldown specials like Ignis or Dragon Fang. Now, for an alternate seal, you can also just slot in Times Pulse for a similar effect. If you don't use a cooldown skill, double up on attack and speed finish 3 for 10 true damage on the special proc. In the season, you can self-buff with attack and speed 03. Zelkov kinda wants to be somewhat near allies for finish anyway. Now for other combative skills, you could use low speed and defense for general stat advantages, or since we have a cooldown weapon, you could try out Special Spire 3 from Gladiator Ogma. If you prefer a more sneaky approach, Winter Trinket's no follow-up effect can synergize with the wind or water sweep skills to deny counterattacks while still doubling. On the support aspect side, you could use the C slot for things like drives or spurs to stack with the +5 stats via Winter Trinket, double up with similar sacred seals of their kind. For full support builds, you could run link buffs. There is an attack and defense link sacred seal, which can be used with a speed and res link B skill. You can get +6 field buffs for that. All of those will stack with Winter Trinkets, +5 in combat buffs. When it comes to other premium options, Zelkov's in a great spot with Winter Trinket. If you had a Times Pulse skill like the Echo version, then you basically have Arcane Slide Knife, albeit you will be down 9 speed, no true damage nor flat DR will make up for. Regardless, for a build with Arcane Slide Knife or Winter Trinket, plus Times Pulse, you can proc high cooldown specials like Lethality or Comet. If you use Active Lookout for Desperation and a Blade or Breath type cooldown skill, like Execution Breath, then Zelkov can trigger these specials on the second Desperation hit. You can also move Tempo into these Sacred Seal slots, and if you have a Winter Trinket on, you can go with attack and speed finish 4 since we already have no follow-up. For Arcane Slide Knife, you could use Perfect Attack and Speed or the Dagger exclusive Waylay for no follow-up instead. Now there are many other skills to use with either of these weapons. Slice with Sparrow, Hex Edge, Dagger disarm skills, Speed and Defense low finish, or Speed Taker can all work. For the C slot, usually Infantry can use this for Times Pulse or Pledge or Pulse On for cooldown, but the Lookout Dagger skills are just too fun since they give Kanto 2 and the Distance Shadow Swap ability. Generally, I would say Active Lookout's Desperation is more interesting than Lookout Force's attack and speed debuff neutralization, but we recently got Lookout Smog from Ninja Shaz. Pulse Smog is another Dagger C skill, but the Lookout version is pretty good since you get the Kanto and Distance Swap abilities. You then add Smog's Scally Feck. It also gives 7 flat damage reduction because the idea is that you're going to be taking a counterattack instead of bypassing it with Desperation or Sweep skills. For this more direct approach, Zelkov can try to use his higher defense stat and run one of the 40% unpierceable DR specials. This would be Arch Rival or Comet. To add more defensive power, Pair Up can make it tougher to double Zelkov, and he gets a good amount of flat DR. With Winter Trinket, you have 40% DR and 3 flat DR sources to try and tank incoming hits. This will include Smog Scowl effect, and if you go at Arch Rival, you can also get Guard 2. One Winter Trinket can use this more defensive setup. Daggers have Johanna Dagger for damage reflection. The potential is just so disgusting, especially if you can stack the reflex status with it. In the future, whenever we do get the 4th Arcane Dagger, it will most likely have more flat DR and more stats than Winter Trinket. If you wanted to lean more into Zelkov's kind of defense, then this is a setup you could consider. Now instead of defensive playstyles, let's also discuss support builds since Winter Trinket does a lot for the team too. To go at its pre and post support, you could use a Favor B skill for stat buffs, 50% piercing, and a -1 cooldown without fighting. Zelkov doesn't have a fancy extra action, but you can use these lookout console skills to swap allies after you buff them. Winter Trinket can also buff across the map, so interesting potential for team utility. You could throw on Makai's Ring for an extra action if you want. Now, assuming you aren't fighting immediately, Zelkov could also use Favor to charge up his own special for extra burst damage if you need it. In conclusion, this is another very fun Chris's Tempest Trials. We got great secret seals, a solid free-to-play unit, and some amazing fodder all in one batch. Definitely one of those cases where merging Zelkov will hurt to do because his dagger is solid, and well, we've been waiting forever to get Attack and Speed Finish 3 in the A slot on a free-to-play unit. Now, if you're looking for a dagger merge project, Zelkov is good, but like we discussed, there are many similar candidates who aren't that old. Daggers do have a lot of fun skills and builds to put together, but you do need to track things like Lookout Down since not a ton of units have them outright. On the other hand, there are 16 premium units with Attack and Speed Finish 4. This will include Rearm Salt and Layla, who are dagger units, so Zelkov can kinda just take their fodder very easily if you have them. You might want to look into your barracks to see what other new skill and heritage chains are now possible, or at least much cheaper than before. That's all I have to say for this video. Thank you for watching, and go get those Tempest Trials orbs, you're gonna need it. I will see you in the next video.